What's up, everyone? This is Silver Slayer, and welcome to your daily silver stacking video. Thank you for tuning in and supporting the silver stacking community. The best way to support this video is by liking the video and leaving a comment. I really want you to throw your 2 cents in on this. I want to know what your 2022 silver stacking strategy is. And if you don't have one, you better start thinking now. And this will be the perfect video. There's going to be so many people commenting on this video. Hopefully you are one of those people, sharing their ideas, their strategies. It's called a silver stacking strategy for a reason. If you're just aimlessly, blindly throwing your money in silver and just hoping it makes money, that's not strategizing, that's gambling. Gambling is much different than strategizing. Silver stackers make strategic decisions based off information. Now, we know the information, we know the different coins and how they play into the market, so we have to do that. Now, I found the best article on Wall Street Silver titled Thoughts on My Silver Stacking Strategy. He breaks it down so good into 8 different parts, and then other people comment on it. And I kind of hope this is what this video will do, is other people commenting, throwing their thoughts in as well. So also make sure you subscribe to the Silver Stacking Podcast, the first podcast for silver stackers on YouTube. We are doing a 1,000 subscriber giveaway. We are at 919, so very few slots left. You want to go get into that now, because if not, you might have missed the boat, because only the first 1,000 are going to be entered. I'm also doing a giveaway coming up this weekend, so make sure you're subscribed on my channel as well. You never want to miss my giveaways, trust me. Now, this is going to be good. I am going to also talk about my silver stacking strategy. I might throw in a little bit of mine during this, or maybe afterwards I'll really go into mine more in depth. But as I skimmed through his, there's a lot of good points he made. Obviously, this guy knows what he's doing. And I really just want to see what he has to say, and my thoughts and also yours. So due to the recent growth of this sub and new apes starting their silver stacks, which is definitely true. I mean, 181,000 silverbacks. And as you can see, I have 4.9 thousand karma, which is pretty good just for me posting my videos on Wall Street Silver. But anyways, due to the recent growth of this sub and new apes starting their silver stacks, I thought I would share some thoughts on strategically stacking silver. Before I begin, let me first give this disclaimer. I've been stacking for at least 7 years. Yeah, see, this guy knows what he's talking. He's been stacking basically as long as I have. So this is going to be a really good video. I'm excited now. So there's been many philosophies on stacking out there. I welcome input on my philosophy, and I hope that you would share yours down below so that we can have a productive discussion. Look, that intro right there, just perfect. That's exactly what I was trying to portray in this video, and I'm glad that I found this article. Maybe I'll try to send this video to this guy afterwards too, and he can read all your comments as well. So number 1, I am investing in silver for the long haul. So am I. I hope to leave my collection to my children and grandchildren someday. And that's a really good point. I've asked a lot of you, when are you going to sell? And a lot of people, way more than I thought, actually said they're never going to sell. They're just going to pass it down. Now, there's probably going to be a lot of us, including myself, that will sell a good portion, but still pass down a good portion as well. But some people are gonna, this is just basically wealth for their kids and grandkids. Number 2, the spot price of silver is very volatile, as we have seen over the past year, so I don't get too excited when I see large gains, losses in silver and gold. And yes, this takes experience though. It took 7 years for this guy to get at this point. Well, probably not 7, but you could ask him personally, you can ask me, when you first start, you do get more worried, and there's a lot more emotional attachment. You know, I remember the first big rise that I saw in silver. I remember the first big drop I saw in silver. You know, I remember the July 2016 high when silver broke past $21. We all celebrated like silver just hit $100, because that was the first time we saw silver break above 20. You really have to take the emotional attachment out. Think with your head, not your heart. I also after each one of these points, I want you to share your thoughts. You don't have to do all 8, but I really would want you to kind of do what I'm doing for this guy's strategy. So number 3, I've tried to keep my precious metals about 10% of my net worth, in which I include equity in my home, retirement accounts, vehicles I own, and business assets. I'm currently doing some catching up since I had to take a little break after having children, but 10% is my goal. Now, that's a really good point. What is yours? Do you have other investments? And this could even go into cryptocurrency, right? I mean, I have a pretty expensive car, right? I'm going to be buying it. You know, I'm paying it off, but it's expensive, right? I mean, I'm driving a, we don't have to know. I mean, you've probably seen it on my channel before. It's a 2021 custom edition Chevy Equinox, but that's also included as I guess some of my investment in crypto. I don't have, it's beyond that. It's not much. It's basically precious metals, crypto, and I guess looking at it that way, you could include your cars or a home or maybe stocks. I'm not really into stocks, but it could be anything. So that is a really good point. But what's the percentage? Mine's a lot more than 10%, but some people, maybe you do have other assets or things that you've also put a lot of money into. So what is your percentage? And that goes into number 4. What is your percentage compared to gold? That's the $1,000,000 question. I'm going to show, and actually he hits it on the head. This is good. So he says, I'm keeping my ratio from silver to gold about 100 to 1. Every 100 ounces of silver, he buys an ounce of gold, usually in smaller denominations. And maybe he saw my video, because I've been talking about this ratio for a long time on my channel. Every 100 ounces of silver, get an ounce of gold. That's a great ratio to go by. But the main part, the most important part that he says in that is usually in smaller denominations. I never buy a full ounce of gold. It's going to be harder to sell a full ounce of gold because gold's extremely expensive, and a lot of people can't afford a full ounce, but they can afford, let's say like 2 grams or even a 10th ounce or a 4th ounce. It's a lot more affordable, so that's more liquid. It's going to be easier to sell, and liquidity is key. Just like I don't buy anything heavier than 10-ounce bars. I mean, 20 ounces you probably could, but if it's heavier than that, imagine silver gets up to $150, $200. Your potential customer base is a lot smaller because you only could find people that have that much money. So let's go to number so he goes to smaller denominations. The reason for this is I like the volatility of silver over gold. Both are a nice hedge against inflation. Long term, I plan to add some platinum and palladium for my stack as well. And that's another good point. Are you planning, or do you invest into platinum or palladium? I know some of you even invest into copper. Copper is extremely cheap, and the coins look wicked, and you can get huge copper bars. Like I'm talking about, you can get like these massive copper bars and just stack them up like an actual like gold bars in a bank vault you would see in like a movie. But do you do that, or platinum or palladium? I'm curious if you do. And you also have to remember, what platinum and palladium is used, especially in the electric vehicle sector, and where the price goes. And you see now palladium more expensive than gold from that direct that direct point I just made. So if you do, let me know. That's interesting. I don't think I'm going to get into it. Mine's just going to be silver and gold, but who knows? So number 5, I try to budget a set amount each month for silver purchases. I have found this a consistent way to grow my stack and not worry about spot or premiums too much. For example, if I spend $200 a month on silver, I could currently get about 6-7 ounces, which over the course of a year would add about 75 ounces to my stack. If the price goes up or down, I would just adjust the amount of silver I bought, but not my investment amount, keeping my monthly budget in good shape. That's a really, see, this is where you go into the strategical part. If you're just aimlessly buying silver here and there whenever you want to, do you see how much different your outcome could be, or your profit, or even the amount of silver? That's a good point. So He only does it in set amounts, but then you could see if the price goes up or down, I would adjust the amount of silver I bought, but not my investment amount. That's pretty cool. Let me know if you do that or if you've just thought of that. Number 6, I prefer to invest smaller denomination coins, bullion bars over a few reasons. A, I don't have monthly budget to buy large bars, and B, I see smaller denominations of silver easier to liquidate in the event that I need to sell some quickly. I would have trouble selling a few, or I wouldn't have trouble selling a few ASCs locally, but I might have to do some research for someone in the market for a 10-ounce, 100-ounce bar. This guy knows what he's talking about, and he makes a lot of the points that I make in my videos. So you could tell he watches YouTube videos. I don't know if he got some of this information from me, or there's a lot of other very good silver stacking channels out there. But you could see that he does his research, and this is how you become a successful silver stacker. This is why it's so important to watch videos like mine, or even another channel similar that talk about strategies, because if you aren't preparing, imagine someone else that's also investing that doesn't watch any videos or anything, and they don't have any of this strategical aspect. Do you think they're going to be as successful as this guy? No. So 7, my stack is currently about 50-50 mix of constitutional junk silver and government private mint bullion. I plan to keep this ratio moving forwards. Junk silver is extremely underrated. I should probably make an entire video on junk silver soon. Well, constitutional silver, aka junk silver, pre-1965, is the most underrated silver out there for a couple different reasons. Now let me explain why. One, they don't make it anymore. So Morgans, how Morgans have almost a numismatic value now because they were stopped being minted in 1921. So that's pretty long time ago. Junk silver pre-1965. So Morgans have a 40-year gap on constitutional, but in 40 years or even less, as these Mercury dimes and Walking Liberty half dollars and Barber quarters and Barber dimes, and as these become more scarce, taken out of the circulation around the United States or wherever, they're going to be harder to find, making them almost grow a numismatic value, a collectible aspect. But right now, you can still buy them for the price of spot, well, close to it. That's a very good point. But number 2, which is probably even more important, it's a great way to buy fractional silver. Let's say you're trading or bartering and silver does become a lot more valuable, even if you're like an SHTF prepper or something. Let's say you're trading and you want to trade your ounce for something that someone else has, but it's not worth a full ounce. What are you going to do? Take a chainsaw to your 1-ounce coin and cut it in half? No, fractional silver is the perfect way to do so. Now, Silver Slayer, but you can buy fractional rounds from let's say any generic mint, a private mint. Yeah, but fractional rounds from a private mint are a lot more expensive because they still have to make that round and stamp it. Plus, government-backed bullion, or a legal tender, even a coin, is a lot better of an investment than a round. There's a difference between coins and rounds. A coin was actual money at some point you could spend. A round isn't. That's a big difference. That's why you don't call, coins like let's say like a 1-ounce Sunshine Mint round or whatever. You don't call those coins. You call those rounds. Coins are actual coins that you could spend at least at some point, and probably still. You would never want to spend a Walking Liberty for 50 cents, But the point is that fractional silver is important. Plus, there's key dates, plus condition can matter if you start keeping them preserved well. So junk silver is extremely undervalued, in my opinion. So let's keep on going. Number 7, my stack is currently about, okay, so we already went that. So number 8, I like the numismatic silver, but I only keep it if the premium is scary close to the premium of non-numismatic. So that's not, so he made a little mistake when he's just about talking about it. numismatic silver is completely contradicting. It's called semi-numismatic because a numismatic coin is solely sold and collected for the collectability. A lot of them don't even have silver inside of them. Numismatic is just collectible coins. Bullion is just silver. Semi-numismatic is like a panda that's sold for its metal content but a little bit of collectability. I don't call it semi-numismatic because that's still really confusing and contradicting. I call it high premium silver. Right? It's just high premium silver. It's a silver coin that does have a high premium because whether maybe the design changes yearly, maybe there's a very low mintage number of them, maybe there's an error, or even if it's in a slab. But that makes no difference. The point he's making is still really good. And there's another point he didn't make that's really good for high premium silver is it's detached from spot price. If you have just a standard maple leaf or even just a round, 1 ounce round, that coin is pegged to spot price. So in 20 years, if spot price is still $24 and your entire stack is just maple leafs and rounds, your stack hasn't appreciated a single dollar. You haven't made any money, literally at all. But if you have high premium coins like pandas, kookaburras, coins like that, those coins are detached from spot price. So even if spot price stays $24 in 20 years from now, those coins will be doubling, tripling, quadrupling in value. So it's good to have bullion that's cheap so you can build a big foundation, but you also, personally, I also think it's beneficial to have some high premium silver that's also making money regardless of what spot price does. But we do see a time now where spot price is irrelevant. So even these rounds are moving almost as a high premium coin because the silver shortage. So it really just depends on what you think silver is going to do on how you stack. And that's why I think it's so beautiful, is because it's a very individual investment. Now, he goes on to say, I know a lot of people on here have different philosophies on stacking, but if you're new to silver, there are lots of resources and philosophies out there on how to grow your stack methodically over the long haul. I wish you all of you crazy apes, we're all in this together. And that's the other point. We're all in this together. We really are. You don't have to agree with me on some things, but don't bash me for it. Or if someone comments something, there's no wrong way to stack. If someone says something you don't agree with it, you don't have to argue with them or make them feel stupid or something. I mean, we're all just trying to invest into the same thing. We're all on the same team. So this guy says no strategy here. That's okay. Well, that's what he wants. He said he had an insurance goal of 100 ounces and 2 ounces in case of a crisis happening. Now I'm a believer in a huge multi-year bull run in silver, gold, copper coming in my portfolio. 100% invested in mining stocks and ops. See, he doesn't understand the real value. Mining stocks, if you can't hold it, you don't own it. There's a reason why we buy physical silver. There's a reason why there's a silver shortage of the physical silver, right? Every ounce that you own in your safe, wherever, 100 other people theoretically own that same ounce online, but they don't actually own it. They think they do, but the only owner is the person that has that coin in their hand. So anyways, interesting. Thanks for sharing this. I hope all of it will go to my future children as well. Good you mentioned you have a house. Started before the asset ratio mostly depends on whether someone has a house. And that's exactly right. If you have a house or not, that could make a big difference. So he says, for transparent, I don't have a house and I don't want one. I'm happy that my silver to total ratio is about 75%. And that's what I was talking about, right? His silver to total ratio of all of his assets or net is 75%, and that's because he doesn't have a house. And that, like the other guy, is 10% because he has other things. So that's a good point. I never really thought of it that deep, especially like thinking about my car. So this guy says my stack mix is 75% cheap as 1 ounce, but investment grade bullion coins as well, even government recognizable, PSLV increasing. So that's obviously online. Nothing fancy, but I understand when apes want some. This guy says, in a few months, I've stacked about 150 rounds and 13 bars of various weight. From here, I plan to buy one 10-ounce bar per month as paycheck allows with no end in sight, keeping the savings in silver after the bills. That's a good point. Let me actually go off that for a second. So he says he buys it one 10-ounce bar a month. 10-ounce bars are probably the best way to get as much silver for as cheap as possible. Instead of buying 10 1-ounce coins, if you buy one 10-ounce bars, you don't have to pay that extra premium for each one of those coins, 10 different premiums. You're just buying one premium 10-ounce bar. And if it's generic, then that's even better because generic's the cheapest way to go, right? A 10-ounce sunshine mint bar, right? Or whatever. That's the cheapest way. And that's why even myself, I unboxed a 10-ounce bar the other day. So I think that's a good point, and I really do like that he mentioned that. So let me know what you think. I mean, there's a lot of ways to stack out there, and I think that's one of the coolest things about silver stacking is there's no wrong way to stack, and it is individualized because everyone has different financial situations. Everyone has different exit time frames. Everyone started at different times, right? Maybe you started at $11 in March 2020, but someone else started $30 during the Wall Street silver train. So you could see how one person looking at silver as $24 could look at it as it's really expensive. And that's great because they bought it at 11. But someone else could look at silver and say 24, that's $6 lower than when I bought it. Do you see how different perspectives of when you entered could look at the pricing differently, which then affects the way you invest? That's why you have to take the emotional attachment out, because whether you got in here or here is irrelevant. Moving forwards, you have to really just look at the bigger picture and invest to what you think is going to work best for you. Also, throwing in some opinion of when you think silver is going to explode. If you think it's going to explode in 2 years, that's going to be a much different strategy moving forwards than if you think it's going to explode in 10 plus years. So yeah, I'm going to wrap this video up here. I pretty much explained a lot of my strategy. I guess I'm not going to be investing too much into Eagles unless I find Eagles for a good deal. I think I'm going to stick with generic silver and maybe just some normal bullion coins that, like Britannia, stuff that's close to spot, maybe some maples. Just along that way, I might pick up some slabbed coins and maybe a little bit of gold here and there. But I'm definitely avoiding Eagles, and I'm just going to try to lower my dollar per ounce average by getting a lot of cheap stuff, especially since premiums are rising. And I don't know how much higher they're gonna go, especially since silver isn't that pricey right now. I think personally for me, since I do have a lot of more expensive coins, I did it backwards. I started off with expensive coins, and now I got to start buying cheaper coins just because I fell in love with pandas and stuff like that. But regardless, I want to lower my dollar per ounce average, right? So I'm going to do that. Maybe get a little bit of gold this year and just play it by ear. But I would love to hear what your strategy is and also what you thought about this article. So yeah, please like the video. Please leave a comment. I really want this video to do good so I can get as many comments as possible and we can bring this discussion to life. And this would be very helpful to a new stacker if they saw this as well. So please like the video. Please leave a comment, share it. I'm going to wrap this video up here. Make sure you subscribe if you want to win some silver, but also because I post daily videos. And don't forget about the Silver Stacking Podcast. Every Friday, we make some really good podcasts. It's so fun. Thanks for tuning in. This is Silver Slayer. I'll see you guys soon. Peace.